Hey, welcome to the very first episode of the Confidence Covered by Humility podcast, where we explore what it takes to lead your company, your small business, your team, and your home with humble confidence. I'm James Mayhew, and I want to thank you for tuning in today. I'm just grateful that you chose to spend a portion of your day here with me to listen in. I'm going to do my best to make it worth your time. Now, on the first Tuesdays of each month, we're starting the series called The Coach's Corner, and that's what today's is. So I work with executives and business owners and team leaders throughout various sizes of companies and industries. And I have the privilege to work with some really high caliber, high performing people on a daily basis. And there's these frequent takeaways that I want to share those with you because that's how we learn from each other. So on these Coach's Corner episodes, I'm going to talk about a challenge and a win or some form of a breakthrough from my time with a client. Now, in today's episode, I want to talk with you about two mistakes that new leaders can't afford to make, but they tend to make anyway. The first is being afraid to ask for help. And the second is thinking that as a leader, you're supposed to have all the answers. Let's get this, let's get it straight here. Being a new leader is challenging. And as a new leader, you'll experience insecurity. You'll feel ready, but you still have some lingering doubts and fears. It's not going to be uncommon that you're going to be uncertain about your new role and how you'll take it on. Even if you've had some mentoring from somebody in the company, and I'm going to make the assumption that they made time to do that. What I've found is even though that mentoring and guidance is there, it tends to be really functional and tactical. It focuses on the tasks that you do, the software, the hardware, where to enter data, what the team's working on, what it needs to work on. But mentoring someone also means that you're helping them navigate those insecurities, that uncertainty that they're feeling, because when people are unsure or they're uncertain about what to do, they either procrastinate or they just tend to avoid it altogether. And that just takes us back to the two mistakes that new leaders can't afford to make, but we tend to make anyway. Again, being afraid to ask for help and thinking you're supposed to have all the answers. I believe that they're directly impacted or affected by having confidence that's covered by humility. The reality is this: no one has all the answers. If they tell you they do, you might want to find another mentor because what your job is to do is to build a strong team of smart people. You want to give them a system where they can succeed both individually and collectively as the team. But don't miss this. If you've hired well, you have people on your team who are close to the action. You hired them because they're highly skilled at what they do. And hopefully you did this part right, that they're committed to doing excellent work for you. However, the fastest and surest way to cause them to lose confidence in yourself is when you ignore them. And by ignoring, I don't mean that you turn the other way in the hall. What I mean is that they don't know how they're doing, or they don't feel that you're listening to their concerns or their ideas. When this happens over time, there becomes a growing issue where not only have the people on your team lost confidence in you, they're starting to lose trust in you. Now, take it from me. The worst feeling in the world, because I've experienced it, is when your boss tells you that people on your team are frustrated with you and they've lost respect in you as their manager. It's hard to recover from. It's hard to hear as well. And this, again, it's closely connected to this belief that you're supposed to have all the answers. Let me tell you about when I'm working with a client one-on-one or even in a group setting, I like to ask the question, what is confidence that's not covered with humility? And people will respond with words like arrogance and ego and pride. And then I ask them a follow-up question. Well, what does a prideful person not do? And nearly every time the first response I get is they don't ask for help, which is absolutely true. And that's because we don't ask for help because it's easy to fall into this imposter syndrome where you don't want people to perceive you as weak or unqualified or in over your head. Even if you've been the CEO for years, though, there will never be a time you won't need to ask for help or guidance in some form. And being able to seek guidance from someone that you trust will be the difference between your success and your failure, not only for you, I guess for your company too. So you're going to ask them things like, how would you handle this situation? Have you ever had this happen? How would you respond to this? So when you have people around you that care about you and they're invested in the success of the entire team, when they're willing to be open and honest with you and call you out, and you listen and apply what they're telling you, That is when you're operating with confidence that's covered by humility. If you don't seek help from a trustworthy colleague or manager, or perhaps even someone like me who partners with leaders to level up their leadership, well, you're going to continue making mistakes, bigger mistakes, costlier mistakes, and they don't end up well. It doesn't end up well for you. Don't miss this. Confidence covered by humility gives you the courage to ask for help and to admit when you don't have the answers. It makes you more genuine, more relatable, and it shows your desire to be better today than you were yesterday. If you're a business owner, an executive, a director, a manager, take a second and ask yourself, do we have a culture in this company that encourages leaders to ask for help? Or are we operating in ways that actually discourages it? When you ask, you might want to ask others too. And don't just ask people who are closest to you. Ask people around the company what they think. People who will give you honest answers, not just the answers they think you want to hear. My guess is you'll be surprised at what you learn. So as we summarize this episode here, being a leader is challenging. Being a new leader is daunting. And if you want to set new leaders up for success in your company, make sure that you're setting them up with the skills, the tools, and the confidence to do their job exceptionally well. Now, here's a short clip from the next episode of Confidence Covered by Humility, where I speak with Jarrett Samuels, the founder of one of the largest online communities for men, The Pursuit of Manliness.
Well, false humility always finds a way to get credit. You know, like false humility, there's no way a person who's trying to be humble, who's not humble, will not at some point go, well, that was my idea. Well, I didn't want to say anything, but if you listen to someone long enough, they'll tell you what's in their heart. They'll tell you what's really going on. And I think that's important. To me, my father-in-law has been the opposite of that. This is a guy that could preach me under a table, has done all kinds of things I'll never do. And he's one of the most humble people I've ever met. So I think what happens when you try to fake humility, in a strange way, you almost become more arrogant in a passive aggressive way. And it's hard to paint the picture, but when you see it, you know. And you know that because people, they don't want to follow that. They don't really want to be around that. And people who are fake at being humble always surround themselves with people who tell them yes. They always surround themselves with people who affirm them, because anyone who would question them will ruin them.
I hope you tune in because it is filled with wisdom about what it means to be a man in leadership today. I'm James Mayhew, and I'm so blessed to partner with business leaders who want to build a culture that performs, where it inspires confidence in others and it serves with extraordinary excellence. Thank you, and I look forward to speaking with you again on the next episode.